Well, guys, it is time. It's the midweek edition of the Pocket Change Market Report for January 11, 2023. I hope you guys are doing well and that you guys are taking advantage of what's out there right now. And you're finding yourself a little piece of treasure that you could call your own, or maybe you want to flip. I don't know. But all of the coins we're going to talk about today that sold on eBay, people did decide they wanted to sell it. All right. And it was a very active last 24 hours. All of the coins, we have 28 total listings to talk about, all fell within the last 24-hour range of sales, maybe even a little bit less than that. But you're going to see that these are some of the biggest and best coins that people have found and have subsequently sold. And it's fantastic. We're going to revisit a few coins from last year that made some headlines. Are they still a thing, or are people beginning to look forward to brand new 2023 coins, which will be dropping here any moment now? Yeah, keep an eye out for those. It's gonna be hot for sure. And as quickly as the banks get them, they'll probably more than likely get rid of them, as well as the demand for physical coin continues to put a lot of pressure on the supply out there. So like I'd mentioned before, what did I say before? Man, I forgot. All the coins are raw. We don't talk about graded material at all. Okay, and the big reason why is grading is very expensive, especially when you attribute errors. It costs like $60, $65 to attribute an error coin through the likes of PCGS. It's a little bit cheaper through NGC, but it's sometimes the unneeded expense if you're looking to just sell these coins. The errors, as long as they're attributed correctly by you, are actually really easy to sell, and they speak for themselves. No one's going to question what an off-center struck coin is, or what a cracked planchet is, or a die crack, or a cut. Nobody's going to question it if they could plainly see what it is. And they will throw all the money at you that it's deserved. And all this for not grading at all. You're going to save yourself a lot of money in the long run. And another thing too, all the listings that you see here today all feature the original images that was provided by the respective sellers. I didn't doctor or juice any of these. The most I can tell you is the coins, the images were cropped and they were added to the list. And that's what you're going to see. So you might find a few of the coins a little bit out of focus, a little bit dark, a little bit too light. You're going to get the best and the worst. You might even get a little bit of photography lesson as a result. All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed this midweek edition of the PCMR, one of the hottest coin videos out there today. Yeah, I'm tooting my own horn. Why not? I've been doing this for a number of years now, and it's been very popular and very well received. And it really gives a lot of folks some momentum heading into their next search. You know, this is something to look out for. Hey, check this out. This is a new discovery. And that's what the PCMR is not only to gauge the value of some of these coins, but also to inform you as well when a new variety or error hits. All right, without further ado, let's go ahead and drop into the first listing today. One of the coins that made some headlines last year when it first came out was the 2022 P Sally Ride quarter. You know, the American Women's Series of quarters has been pretty well received. 2022, the first date of this series, actually went off really well. And there was a lot to look for. A lot of varieties on that Maya Angelou, along with some of the crazy errors that you could find on any of the other releases from last year. This is one of them here. This is the drooling die chip. I mean, do you guys remember this? Seems to me that this particular little anomaly right here was found on every single American Women quarter from last year. So at first, they were selling really well. There were a number of examples on day one of the Maya Angelou discoveries that were selling for $20 to $30 a piece. I hope you guys took advantage of that. And where we at here a year later on this one? Well, this one sold for $6.50. While not the $20 to $30 it once was, keep in mind that there's still a little value tied up into this. This particular seller also had 3 of them available, so they did kind of like a Dutch-style auction. Where they had a number of them in quantity, and you could go and buy 1, you could buy 2, you could buy 3. This individual on eBay ended up selling through all 3 of their coins at $6.50 a pop. I mean, you're looking at, what, $19 and some change total for 75 cents worth of coin. I'd say that's not too bad. And from what I've seen, the die chips that are the largest are selling for this kind of money. The much smaller ones, not too many people are actually interested in those. And the ones that did float around the marketplace a long time ago, about a year ago, people did buy them. All right, and there's just no really need for those today. So folks are just concentrating on the much larger, more later progressed die chips on these. So $6.50 is what we're looking at on this one. The next one that we have here is one of the marquee varieties to look for in the Jefferson Nickel series. This one just so happens it can be found on a silver wartime date, and that's the 1943p coin that you see here. I mean, you should be saving these anyways if you come across them, but go the extra mile. Grab a magnifier and look up close at the date, because you might find the over date, which is the 1943/2. So that last digit of the date is what they call an over date. This one has what you can see here. And I'm going to throw out a little bit of caution here with these ones because they can trick you. This one, you can see the flat horizontal bar of the 2 right here. So you got to make sure it's flat on the inside loop of the 3. If you don't have that there, you don't have the overdate. But also, this is the top part of the 2 that's jutting off the bottom of the 3 as it makes its curl. So that's kind of like that diagonal line. Just to let you guys know, there's also a die chip that looks very similar to this. It's going to look like the spike coming off the bottom curl of that 3, but it won't have the flat bottom to it. So make sure you're looking at that. If your coins are like too far gone, they're really worn with a bunch of goop and gobbledygook and all that stuff on there, you might have a hard time seeing it. At that point, probably not worth saving. But again, these things have a nice little amount of silver melt value. I forgot how much it was. It's over $1 and under $2. How about I give you that there? But this particular one right here is sold for $320. If that's a legit sale, man, that's a really good sale. That's a little bit overachieving in my estimation, but you know, if someone really wanted this one, it's in decent shape too. You know, it's not, you know, like a super low ball example. There's a few steps in Monticello that's visible there, but you know, nothing that's going to earn you any brownie points at the end of the day. But I would say this coin grades out like XF condition. So yeah, pretty good, respectable sale here. Look out for this one. Always a big one in the Cherry Picker's Guide. The next one that we have here was another quarter from last year, and the Anime Wong was the last release of the 5 designs for the year, and there was really nothing to really find in this particular series of quarter. You know, a few die chips and things like that, although we did report on our live coin Q&A live stream, someone had found a couple of really nice die clashes. Maybe I'll do a separate video on that you're going to have to keep an eye out for. It's actually really, really nice. But this one right here is not the die clash, but it's on here for a completely separate reason. This one has a little bit of a die chip on the pinky nail, or finger rather, of Miss Wong. So with that being said, there was enough interest in this particular little anomaly that it ended up selling for $12.45. And that's with an accumulation of 8 bids to get there. Now this one's really quite neat. And It's a 1989 Lincoln Memorial cent, and it came out of a BU roll. And I have the sneaky suspicion that the seller ended up finding a few of these, but this is the kind of condition you want to find this variety in. And it's nothing that really people are talking a lot about, because, you know, it seems quite minor. It's not an FS listed coin, so it's not in the Cherry Picker's Guide. It's not in the Red Book, but it's actually pretty decent looking. So what are we looking at here? It's going to be that date. This is actually a doubled die. It's DDO number 1. It's actually the attribution number in the Wechsler's files. And what you want to look at on this one is going to be this first 9 with the much fatter bottom tail to it. But you're also going to see a little bit of a fatness to the bottom right of the 8 right here. So, and the bottom of the 1 is also going to be a little bit stretched with some with a step there, a little notch. But this was actually pretty cool. I've never personally found one of these, but if I did, I would want to find one in this condition. Now, even still, you know, it's not like a $300 coin like what we saw previously. Again, it's not a Cherry Picker's Guide variety, but it's kind of classified as a minor variety. This one ended up selling for $8.01 with 3 bids, but can you imagine going through a BU roll of 1989s and finding, say, like 10 of them? You know, that automatically takes a roll that you have paid like a few dollars for, and you're going to make close to $100 on that roll. That's not bad. Again, just kind of keep in mind the possibilities of where you could find your next windfall. You know, sometimes it's not apparent. People look for the key dates, you know, when they're going through coins and bankrolls or silver, but they tend to forget little things like this. All right, so not the greatest of photos. This is a 1956 Denver Lincoln Wheat cent. Still one of the big dates to look for any sort of RPMs, which is a repunch mint mark. This one is, again, the big one. You know, was FS501 or whatever that attribution number is for this. But you have the secondary Denver mint mark that was punched west of the primary. It's a Cherry Picker's Guide variety. It is stunning. This one sold for $31 with 6 bids. So our first piece of currency is a 2013 $1 bill. Yeah, check that out. It's a star note. Pretty nice. So yeah, I mean, you see the B in the district seal, and you automatically know that this is one of the infamous duplicate stars. Okay, so just to kind of give you a quick little backstory on this, the Washington, D.C. BEP facility printed out a run of 2013 B, which are New York series of notes that all had stars on them. So they did a full run of them, and they went into circulation. But 4 years later, in early 2017, the Fort Worth BEP facility, there's only 2 facilities that print our banknotes for the United States, in DC and Fort Worth. Well, Fort Worth, 4 years later, decided to do a whole other run of 2013 B star notes with the same serial number range, for the most part, as the Washington, D.C. run. So, yeah, that's why they call it a duplicate star, which means of that serial number, there's an equal duplicate that exists that was printed at either the D.C. or Fort Worth facility. So how do you know which one you have? Well, it's real simple. If you look at the plate number on the bottom right corner, right above the numeral here of that district number, it'll say FW in the front, which means it was printed at the Fort Worth facility. Now, these things have sold really well. I know I haven't talked about them in quite a little time, and I think I needed some time away from the Duplicate Star Series project in general, you know, due to some information that I had found out that really kind of like salted my curiosity into these, but that's, again, that's a story for another time. I had talked about it on a previous video a number of months back and kind of left it alone because I didn't want to deal with it anymore. But if you were able to find the matching serial numbers for both DC and Fort Worth, and you put them together, you send them off to a grading company like PMG or PCGS Banknote, The pairing actually is really quite valuable. It's worth thousands of dollars. It's kind of like the best modern treasure hunt that you could possibly ever be a part of. So something to keep in mind. This particular note, by the way, is in immaculate shape. It's crisp, uncirculated per the seller. And really, I mean, this is about as a best model of this note that you could get. Now, as of right now, this is one of the more expensive star notes that you could find in Pocket Change today. This particular piece sold for $66, ladies and gentlemen. The normal kind of like sell range for a lot of these worn or circulated examples tend to fall in that $20 to $30 range. All right, so this one right here, in this particular condition, is just a home run of a note. So make sure you're looking out for these. They're all valuable, regardless of grade, because they are desired for the possibility of a match. The next coin that we have here, again, this one needs no introduction. We are all familiar with the Wounded Eagle Sacagawea dollar. We have another one here, and take note of condition. You know, this one has been through many hands and been through many cash registers and soda machines. But we're going to be looking for the example with the raised die gouge. There's actually a pair of them. There's a long one that goes through the breast of the eagle, and then another small one here that's right next to it that goes just into the wing. This one right here I've talked about on many occasions. Still a reliable source of just an easy sale. This one sold for $63.92, and that's with 2 bids. The next piece of currency coming up here, and this is a 1988 $1 bill with a misaligned reverse print. Now, the reverse print on these, as you guys know, is the first print, right? So the reverse is always printed first on the subject sheet, followed by all the other print on the front. So this one right here, the sheet obviously misaligned at some point because the front of the note is pretty well centered, while the back of the note is way misaligned to the right. This one sold for $45.39, and that's with 11 bids. Keep in mind the condition. It's not the perfect note. It has a few kind of like little stains here and there, but all in all, really good example. And yeah, that's with 11 bids. So this lot right here is 3 coins that Brian Rybar had for sale, and the listing is for 1 coin. So in this particular instance, we have a 1943 Denver wartime silver nickel, and these things are Jemmy BU examples. But he had a number of these available for sale that have the minor repunched midmark. This one right here is RPM number 5. I believe that's a Wexler designated number. But this is a great coin to find, even in this minor RPM. And just to let you guys know, a lot of the wartime silvers have RPMs. All right, a lot of them do. Probably about 50% of the time, when you pick one of these up, it's probably going to have an RPM. That's how frequent they are in the series. Now, what matters most to collectors is grade. And this one right here is just a superb specimen for someone that's collecting all the RPMs of these wartime silver dates. This one sold for $17.95, whereas the just base BU value of a non-RPM coin falls right around like maybe $6 to $8. So a little money to be made here. Again, this is more the minor one. There's much more just better looking examples. There's even a few cherry pickers guide variety types of the RPMs. So always look for these. They're phenomenal. We also have this 1988 Lincoln Memorial Cent. It's off center, number 1, not by much, maybe by about 7-8%. It's very minor, but it also has that indent. Well, the indent occurs when there's another planchet that was overlapping it during the strike. So that leads to just a blank indent right here with no brockage whatsoever. And there's a matching coin somewhere out in the universe that would fit up to this like a puzzle piece. So this coin right here, really nice shape, but keep in mind it's a Zinkin, with lots of exposed zinc. As you guys know, it's very susceptible to moisture and corrosion. This one sold for $45.39 with 11 bids. We also have this beauty right here. Man, this thing is a stunner. Oh, I'm sorry. The off-center strike with the indent sold for $64.58 with 12 bids. I just wanted to clarify that. We have a 1930 Buffalo Nickel. This thing is really nice. And it's a very nice variety as well. This is a Cherry Picker's Guide doubled die. I believe this is FS 102, if I'm not mistaken, because there's a couple really nice doubled dies for this one. But, you know, if you're looking for a really nice high-end condition coin, this is the one right here. So what are we looking at for this particular coin? It's actually a common date as well. The doubling, you're going to show a doubled eyelid, first of all, but you're also going to see a doubled large feather. You can see on the feather on the right side right there. So make sure you're looking for these. The FS 101 is also a doubled eyelid as well, which is a phenomenal coin, but very rarely do you see these in mid-state condition. This one happened to sell for $255.25. Check your scrap silver, although I would say this one's just slightly better than just scrap. It's actually in really nice shape, with exception of a few kind of like annoying little scratches on the front there on Lady Liberty's neck area. But this was sold as a strike-through reverse, and it's a 1924 piece dollar. It's a very common date. The strike-through is actually right on the body of the eagle right here, right on that right wing. So it could have been anything. It could have been a little bit of grease. It could have been a piece of wood. It could have been a piece of, you know, just metal shaving or something. Something was on the die when it struck this coin, thereby leaving that impression there. Pretty easy to see, and it's unmistakable as far as what it is. So not a bad sale. I mean, it's a $46 sale with 12 bids. It's not going to make you rich, but, you know, let's say if you paid like $25 for the coin and then you sold it for that, you know, it's an easy $10 bill profit. It doesn't sound glamorous or sexy, but it all adds up, guys. So take the smalls with the larges and you'll do okay. And one of my favorites, yeah, sure, it doesn't have a full readable date, but we all know what this is. It's just a massive cut die break on this quarter. It's post-1980 because it does have a physical P mint mark. I think 1979 they did not have P mint marks, if I remember right. Or they might have. I don't know. It's one of the earliest dates, you know, that features a physical Philadelphia mint mark. But yeah, check out that cut die break. A piece of the die had fallen off, and that's due to just general wear and tear. This one right here is sold for $80.60. Holy smokes. Yeah, the prices on cuds just continue to go up and up and up, you know, as they normally do. This is a very interesting sector of error collecting, and people love it. They just can't stay away, and they continuously pump money into this. It's going to be a healthy market for many years to come. Here's another one here. This one actually ended up selling late last night. So again, you have to strategically list your coins so that way they don't end at 9, 10 o'clock at night when, you know, one whole half of the nation is either at going to bed or, you know, whatever, or they're eating dinner. So you have to make sure that when you list these coins that you end them at just the right time. I personally like for coins to end right around 3, 4 o'clock Pacific time. So that would put you guys on the East Coast at like 6 to 7. I know some of you probably eating dinner at this point, but, you know, it's just a power play. You have to psychologically think about, you know, what people are doing all across the country at specific times in which your auction ends. Like in the case of this nickel right here with that cut die break above Jefferson's head, I mean, it only managed a sale of $24.44 with 3 bids. And what that tells me is not everybody was available to see this through to the end, which is unfortunate because cuds have been performing just really well. And I've seen other examples of this same cud sell for between $30 and $40. So there was definitely a little bit of money left on the table with this one. All right, I promise we're going to speed it up a little bit. How about this Roosevelt dime with a partially readable date? It's a 1990s era Roosevelt. It's off center by probably a good 80% plus. But yeah, you know, people like these as oddities, and they're dramatic enough that they do want them in their collection. This one was a healthy sale at $40.60 here in the last day. Another 1989, not a double die this time, but how about a little tiny rim cud that actually goes up to the design. It's not a full-blown rim cud. This is actually a regular cud because it extends beyond the rim and actually touches a device, a design detail on the coin. So again, this coin, look at it. This thing circulated for a while, you know, many, many years, if not decades. This one sold for $9.49. Again, it's a Zinkin era error, so they're usually selling for less money because of the composition. But still, you can just throw this back. It's sold for $10. Just keep it, sell it. You know, make $5 off of it, do whatever. But yeah, this is a great find. All right, this one's actually cool, but someone really did not care about this particular coin enough to sell them individually. So this might represent a good buying opportunity for someone that wants to flip it and list each coin individually. But we have a lot of 28 total 2022 P Maya Angelou's, and these have various errors and varieties from the doubled earrings to the drooling die chips. This is a lot that's chock full of them. Here's a couple images from the seller of what you can expect. So he or she had mentioned in her listing that you could find the VDDR number 1s and 3 and a bunch of these drooling die chips. And they seem to go hand in hand as well. You'll find like a doubled earring along with a small die chip on the corner of Washington's mouth. But there's also some that don't have the doubled earring as well in this lot. So, what did they end up getting for 28 coins? $102.50 was the final sale price with 2 bids. So, someone saw the possibility here, and it's very achievable, and that you can possibly double up your money by buying a lot like this. You just have to be a little patient because it's not going to sell overnight. All right, another neat one here. 2006 $1 bill. Look at that, the black overprint of the note there. It's all misaligned southward. The green is perfectly aligned on the note. So that part of the plate was not set up or registered correctly. So you have this really wild error. You can even see some of the print in the margin there. Nice note. I would say very little circulation wear. There's a little bit of oily stain right there on the large E of 1 on the reverse. But all in all, good looking note here. This one sold for $175, ladies and gentlemen. What a great day when you could sell this. Ungraded, by the way, as well it should be. So again, another great example of a piece that you don't have to grade and it'll realize the full potential of the market. Another great variety here. Excuse me. We also talked about one of these on our live coin Q&A here this past Monday. 1980 doubled die obverse Lincoln Memorial set. Note the condition. I would say it's probably a low-end A condition coin, maybe an XF45. Very strong doubling that you'll see here on the date. Very noticeable on the number 8 in the date, and then also some doubling on Liberty as well. That's where you're going to find the strongest doubling. So this one has an older FS attributed number from the Cherry Picker's Guide from yesteryear, and then a new updated one. So it was originally called FS034. So if you went and looked at, say, the 3rd or 4th edition of that particular Cherry Picker's Guide, it would be the old FS listed number. This one is also termed as the FS101 as well. So this one sold for $133.98. Just a beautiful coin. Another Buffalo. And not a supremely high graded example either, but very, very intriguing. 1935p Buffalo quarter. You kind of see what's going on there on the reverse to the left of 5 cents. It looks like a cut die break, and it could be, but at the same time, it could also be a folded rim fin. So on a strike, you could have a coin that is strike with too much pressure that allows some of the metal flow to go up the side of the collar, and it'll develop a rim fin. And generally during the striking process, when these things are ejected, maybe the feeder finger folds it down, so it gives it the appearance of a cud die break. And the reason why I brought up the folded rim fin is you can kind of see this little seam right here, and also a little one right here, which might indicate that was indeed the case as being a folded rim fin. Only one way to find out, stick a toothpick under there and see if you can lift that puppy. I would highly recommend not doing it, but if you were going to test that theory out, that would be the one thing you would do. And, using a toothpick, you won't really damage the coin. Otherwise, I would just keep it the way it is. This is just a great find. So this one right here ended up selling for $50.60. Just a really nice error oddity if I've seen one. How about this one? We all know what's going on here. 1967 Washington quarter. It's missing the nickel obverse clad layer. That's pretty obvious. All you're seeing is copper. So when it comes to these missing clad layer errors, you always want to take into consideration that the coin or the planchet is going to be a little bit thinner. So you want to see just some general weakness in the strike, and we do see it here. The tops of Liberty. You can see some weakness, but also on the reverse over the word dollar, a little bit above the CA in America, and then above United. So a lot of weakness in the wings as well right here. So a lot of weakness, which helps support the legitimacy of this particular error. Not a really huge sale. It ended up selling for $25. So, that's not bad. Better than a sharp stick in the eye. It remains to be seen why there is a even kind of like swath of discoloration here. Could there have been like a piece of tape or something on the coin at one time? Kind of hard to say. It could have been that allowed the coin to oxidize to a brown, but you have a really sharp, hard edge to it. Another good one here. This is a Lincoln Memorial that was struck struck through a die cap. Not quite late stage. It's probably like right in the middle, but yeah, you really don't see much here with this one. Great example, just a high-end one. It looks to be a copper-coated zinkin as well. So not the most craziest or desirable error, but still a great one to sell if you don't need it. This one sold for $32.89 with 9 total bids. All right, so we have a number of coins. I believe the previous coin and the rest of them in this PCMR were all sold by a dealer in Indiana that goes by the name Indie Coin Dealer, I believe, on eBay. And his name's Matt, and he's also one of the leading guys on the Coin Show podcast as well. And he goes by, I believe, Lost Dutchman on some forum chat pages. Just a really great, nice guy. He's been around the game for quite a while. He's been a dealer for many years. He's one of the trusted people to go to if you have, coins you want to sell or you got just general questions. Between he and another gentleman, I think his name's Mike, they do this podcast, and I think they used to do YouTube, but I don't think they have YouTube anymore. But they're just simply dedicating all their time in the podcast and then also doing YouTube or Facebook posts as well. So the rest of the coins were all sold from his auctions. 1998D Lincoln Memorial Cent. This is a Zinkin, but it is missing a lot of the copper plating on here. And you know this one's legit, as in it's not acid dipped or anything like that, because the surfaces are clean. They have no pitting, no corrosion. You have luster, which is important. And this is just a really cool looking piece. You do also do have some little snippets of the actual copper plating still on the coin. Not much, but it's there. So this one ended up selling for $76 with 17 bids. And all his coins, by the way, were ungraded. So how about this one? This one's wild. 1985 Denver Washington quarter, off center. I'd say about 55%. I mean, it's really nice. And rest assured, a date set collector of this type of error will want this, especially with this kind of offset. But man, really cool looking coin. This one sold for $49 with 19 bids. And the indie coin dealer, took me a second, also had this 1971 Denver Lincoln Memorial cent. Again, another big, nice size, chunky cud right above Lincoln's head. Beautiful specimen, very little circulation wear. And this one sold for $89 with 15 bids. Another cud, this time on a Denver minted something or another. We don't know what the date is because the cud is covering that. But again, really healthy size coin here. This one ended up selling for $60.88. And that's with 6 total bids. This is something you don't see every day, but it's a 1943S Lincoln Steel cent. Check that out. 3 very nice size clips on here too. I mean, this is something that you want to find, and yeah, this is impressive for just a basic old curved clip coin, which generally has very minimal value. This one has all of the stuff you want. This one right here sold for $157.50 with 24 bids. And the final coin, I left it last for a reason, because it's my favorite. I actually was looking at this and thought about putting a bid in up until I was handed a honey-do list, and I never got to the bidding. So it ended up at a very, very nice high amount of money. Bicentennial, Denver, minted. As you can see, this one is also missing that clad layer on the reverse. You do have a little bit of weakness in certain areas, like above America, and then on the obverse, that right side of the rim there is quite light. But all in all, man, any major error on a bicentennial quarter is a hot commodity right now, because of what it is. This is still a perennial fan favorite among people that are just casually going through their change. When they find something like this, it's neat. And guess what? We're about ready to have, the 250th anniversary coming up here. The U.S. Mint will be doing something special on the quarter, maybe on some of the other coins as well, so keep an eye out. And that might actually open up the doors of some sort of resurgency in the bicentennial quarter that you see here before you. But this bad boy ended up selling for $217.50 with 21 bids. Matt from the Indie Coin Dealer eBay store had a number of coins to talk about. I wish I could have talked about all of them, but I didn't want to run this episode too long, longer than it already is. But yeah, that's it, ladies and gentlemen. That's kind of our midweek look at some of the most notable errors and varieties to have sold here thus far. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. So hopefully it also gave you some inspiration to go out there and to find something similar, right? Because they're out there, guys. They're in bank boxes and rolls. It could be hiding in your daughter's piggy bank. You just never know where you're going to find this stuff. And if you see anything interesting, put it aside. That's the best thing that you could do. But that's going to go ahead and wrap it up, ladies and gents, collectors of all ages. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel and this video specifically, if you haven't done so already. And I am also on TikTok as well. If you enjoy kind of like the sub 1 minute videos, I also do the YouTube shorts, but I also have my TikTok as well. Come on down, press the follow button on there, and yeah, come hang out if that's your thing. But that's going to go ahead and wrap it up for today, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be back for another Pocket Change Market Report this coming Saturday, so I look forward to seeing you guys then. You guys have a wonderful day. Keep on collecting, as we always do. Yeah.